This is Fleet and Footy on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network, sponsored by a live credit union.
You join me live in the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 studio. I'm your co-host, Llerandi, and your only host for today, as Stuart Weber will not be joining me in studio. You can see Hambone back there in the dungeon. But you know who is joining me virtually right now to reveal the 2025 NPSL roster is U23 Armada head coach Tommy K. Krizanovic. Tommy, how you doing?
How are you? Thanks for having me.
Doing great. I know today I feel a little bit more like a fan. This is a great day, I think, for every season. Everyone looks forward to the roster reveal, and it's so nice to have you on the show to have a little bit more insight about some of these players we're going to talk about today.
Absolutely, yeah, I'm excited to.
Hamby, why don't you just start rolling into what we got going on, because I just want to touch on some of these players because I had the due diligence to be able to look into these guys' backgrounds and what their stats look like, and I've personally gotten to call some of these guys' games as some of them travel up to JU and play. So here's the goalkeepers. I know we're going to bring in another one a little bit later in this season, as you said, but what can you tell me about these two stalwarts in the net?
Well, one thing and important to know is, as we've looked at the MLS Next Pro setup within every team that's playing now, we look at the average age of the players, and we look at anywhere younger 20s, mid 20s. I'm not saying that that's exactly going to be our setup for the pro season, but I am saying that we wanted to go a little bit younger even this year. So what you're seeing here is obviously Jeremy returning, which we're really excited about that. And then Andrew Dunn, the academy goalkeeper. Keep in mind, there'll be a couple more academy goalkeepers in rotation, especially throughout training. But we are expecting and actually finalizing one more goalkeeper that's coming in from the outside, not local, international guy, and we just cannot release that information yet.
Well, I think it's really cool to see. I've been teasing all this MLS next season that we probably will see some of these academy guys join the fray in the U23 squad. Can you just touch on Andy Dunn a little bit more?
Absolutely, and look, and that's the goal, right? So the goal is to have a pipeline into the pro setup, through the 23s, into the 23s. They still have a season, so they have to show themselves worthy of that level. But Andy's done a fantastic job this past year. We obviously brought him in last year as well, and he was able to get a lot of opportunities with us, with the group. He's matured. He's actually probably even grown a little bit, put on a little bit more muscle. So we're really excited to see where he's going to go, because not only is he a U19 player, but he still has one more year left with the U19s. So that's what we're really excited about, and to see how he's going to progress.
We just were over there in Bradenton, Florida. Got to watch him play in Generation Adidas Cup. Also was the keeper in MLS Next Fest to get them to that point. So definitely excited to see that Andy made the squad.
Absolutely.
Why don't we take a look at some of these defenders, because we get some familiar faces and some new ones. I feel like this happens every year. We get a nice mix of local guys, international guys. What can you tell me about this list of guys? A few names that shout out to me right away. Miles Shanley, who's been around this team for quite some time and been around you specifically as you have coached him in the JFC system. Paul Danner just recently transferred out of Jacksonville University, but is still in the market, back with us in the NPSL. Richie Thompson joins the fray once again after a year off in Jacksonville. What can you tell me, Tommy?
Yeah, so a solid group here, versatile group, because it allows us to play a different system if we choose to play a different system, whether that's a 3-4-3 or a 4-4-5-1 or a 4-2-3-1. But it gives us some flexibility with the players. Obviously, the ones you mentioned that are coming back, we all know their capabilities. So we're excited to have them back again. And then we went a different little bit of a different route as well now, because if you remember last year, we revamped quite a bit, and then, you know, we're happy with and kept with what we wanted to keep. And I think we made some changes where we felt like we needed to make some improvements. And this is the group that we feel confident with and that we want to move forward with.
Is there a new name in that list that you can tell fans to maybe look out for?
Yeah, absolutely. Lots of new names. So Nico, who's at West Virginia now, Nico Scargli. Solo, fantastic, fantastic. I mean, you know, not only a defender, but can play in the midfield as well. Oliver Eckert, funny enough, background same as mine, from Freiburg. We not the reason why we brought him in. Kind of unfolded and had a phone conversation as we were scouting and recruiting him. But a flexible center back, good on the ball. You know, and of course Joe, who is going to fill big shoes with Micah Thomas leaving into the draft and into Charlotte. Joe's going to come in and look to replace him, and um, high expectations, big expectations, but we're excited about it.
I think you touched on it there. The versatility, I think, is key within an Armada system. Can you just describe, you don't necessarily need to go into all the tactics, but just describe on maybe why we're seeing so many defenders and so many midfielders in a system like this?
I think, you know, look, the roster is 24 to 25 this season. The training environment is something big for us because within the training environment, um, we are very competitive. We always want to have a roster deep enough to be able to field two teams, right? Of course, you then trickle in some academy players, but it's important that these players fit the positional profiles and fit the style of play, because it allows us not only versatility and flexibility, but it allows us to navigate through games differently, because how these two teams 11-11 would match up in a training session versus how we are going to match up on a Saturday or a Sunday might be a little bit different, right? And so uh, the players that you're seeing can be game changers, can be put in different roles, and that's ultimately for us to see, to evaluate, so that we understand what we have available for the postseason.
Well, another returning name now, as we take a look into the midfield, that I was definitely excited to see, Sebastian Zettel. Can you speak specifically on Sebastian Zettel?
Yeah, I mean, tremendous guy, first of all, tremendous human being. Um, Obviously, you guys know the level of player that he is, and we're excited to be able to bring him back. He didn't even hesitate when I made the call and invited him back in for this year. So we're definitely excited, but massive human being, embodies our core values, embodies um, our characteristics of an Armada player and a leader. You know, and to have your captain back, to have your leader back into the group means a lot to the guys that are also returning, but it means a lot to the staff and to us, because we're able to continue where we left off from that psychological piece, from that leadership piece, and from that locker room behavior and training behavior.
You take a look even further there. You got Mark Romano and Pierce Almoberti, both products of the Jacksonville FC youth system, but splitting separate ways. Pierce, obviously at JU, and Mark Romano just winning the 2024 ASUN Championship with UNF.
Yeah, absolutely. Two prodigies from the academy setup. Um, Excited to see what they have to offer. Obviously, two very different players. There are different roles that they will be playing, but excited to have those two back because I've known them since they were quite little. And they've earned their way in. They are exactly why we do what we do and why we invest so much into the academy. So it'll be good to see how they do within this setup, how they do against this opposition with the new players coming in, but also they know the standards, they know what is expected, and they know from they'll be able to portray that for newer players that are coming in, and yeah, and we're able to take advantage of that.
I think this question is more of a personal question for myself, but I gotta know about Arnal Rabasa. He's Spanish, so I maybe got a little bit of bias, but he's 6 foot, plays in that midfield. Can you tell me anything about him?
Yeah, absolutely. Crafty player, a creative player, tight on the ball. Um, we brought in players a little bit different. You know, we have a 7 or 11 that can do different things. We have a 10 that can do different things. So if you looked at Kirill, who can also play within the center back position, a player from Marshall, but then compare him to Now, who matches up with Javi, you have not mentioned yet here, but we are about to talk about. Um, you know, it just gives us different things that we need because of the amount, once you get into playoffs, and what we've learned is that when we start playing different teams, we have to be able to adapt to the opponent a little bit and to what happens. You know, at 90 minutes, we're up 1-0, we go down 2-1, as you know, and it sums up the season. Um, and then you need game changers. So that's what we were very specific in as far as what we're looking for. We want to make sure that we're making a run for the national title. Um, and this is how we feel with the likes of Arnau, with the likes of Kirill, with the likes of Mac, who can cover massive ground in the midfield and allow other players to be more to show more exposure, be more creative. And I think this is a good mix of midfielders that we have that's coming in.
It's like you set up my segue, Tommy, because my favorite forward, the new forward at least, is Xavi Sato, and that's just because I've seen him play personally. He's come up here and played a couple of A-Sun opponents in UNF and JU. I've gotten to call one of his games as JU played Stetson last year, and honestly, such a creative, crafty player. One of the only players that I specifically remember from that season standing out. Obviously, the name is fantastic. But what can you tell me about this new look attack?
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about Javi. Obviously, caused us a lot of problems last game of the season, this past season, in the playoffs. So he obviously played for Columbus, and we right away knew that we needed to pick him up. So the conversations, the amount of work that went in behind to be able to acquire a player like him, um, speaks volumes not only for him but also for us, because players do see the quality on the field. They do see the operational piece, what you guys do, and everything else. So we think it's a big move for him, but also for us, and we're really excited about him and seeing how he can show his dynamic side and how he can show his ability to beat defenders 1-on-1 and really, create excitement in the field. Similar to Johnny, obviously you guys know Johnny and what he can offer, and with his speed and the things that you can't teach as a coach, but the things that you have to acquire from players and you get. Um, so quite happy with them. And then previously from the slide, with Thiago, who roams around that midfield, who's also from West Virginia. Um, a player very creative in between lines, in behind lines. So the matchup, the mix-up, it'll be really exciting to watch these guys play together, and form a cohesive group. Um, and then of course, two new forwards, Keegan. We had on our radar, he was set to come back, but obviously signed a professional contract with Chattanooga, and that's going quite well for him. So we're excited about that. And now bringing in Lewis and Matten, who's a 6'5" forward, who could offer very similar things to Keegan. Again, big shoes to fill. And then, of course, Gustavo kind of fell into our lap a little bit late. That we're really excited about, from Brazil, plays at Georgia State, a player that can also play between and in behind the lines, dynamic, but also can surprise you with game-changing abilities that he has in the box.
We actually got a question from the chat here, Tommy. Uh, Derek wants to know if we'll see any more Miles Shanley in the midfield this
Yeah,
season.
yeah, we might. We just might, Derek. It's a great question. Again, it'll depend on the group that comes in early on. Obviously, some of the players still have exams. Some of the players are coming in at different times and stages of the season, or I guess within the first couple of weeks of May. But that first game is quite important to us, and we'll see how things unfold with with the group, and yeah, there's definitely potential of Mars coming into the midfield as well.
I know that we've already announced the home venue, Edward Waters. Are you excited to play once again at a place where we've played a couple playoff games but maybe haven't been so successful?
Well, you know, working through adversity is something that we do quite well. It's a challenge. It's not something that we look at and say, oh, we've lost our game here or there, and we're not quite successful here. We're going to make this our home. We're going to do the best with it, and we're going to compete. It shouldn't matter where we play. We are a group of individuals that needs to adapt to every problem and find solutions to every problem. So I don't see it an issue. I see it more of a challenge, and I'm sure the players as well. I'll also actually comment on Ali and Noah. Noah's signing a pro contract now, so we're really excited about that piece with him. And then Ali, as far as him coming back, he had a bit of unsuccessful season in his college career with injuries, and we were going back and forth. But in the end, it didn't work out, and we wish him the best of luck and everything moving forward.
New Look Conference. Is there a specific team that you're looking forward to playing this year?
Not in general. I'm looking forward to playing the teams that we may have not gotten the result against last season, as we all know. But we're really motivated to play any team. The group, the matchups are great. We are excited about who we're going to face. We're excited about the division. We are grateful to be in such a good division as well. So no, we are as motivated for everyone as we are for our first opponent, and we want to make sure that we create an environment for the viewers, for the fans that are coming in and are watching the game, that they get their money's worth, right? So, yeah, it's going to be a good setup.
Well, if you do want to check out this New Look Boys in Blue squad for the 2025 NPSL season, your first match takes place May 9th against PSC FC at Edward Waters Stadium at 7 p.m. Tickets available online at jacksonvillearmada.com. Coach Tommy, thank you once again for joining me on the show. We are super pumped about the season, and we're super pumped about streaming all of our games live here on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and looking forward to the season starting.
Well, when we come back, there'll be plenty more to talk about: international soccer, MLS, and of course, my favorite segment, your favorite segment, the Weird Soccer Story of the Week.
People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From the start in 1954 to today, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. I had a chance to see that commitment firsthand as Alive partnered with our Action Sports Jacks 24/7 team to bring you Armada men's and women's soccer broadcasts. Inside the 18, it is a shot, and it's a goal! Chloe Chivers! And that connection to the community continues with Alive Credit Union's support of the Police Athletic League of Jacksonville. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of all first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
The rhythm of my heart is beating like a drum, with we Armada rolling off our tongues. Never will we roam, for we know our place is home. Where the ocean meets the skies, we be sailing. Where the ocean meets the skies, we be sailing.
Get local sports on demand with Action Sports Jacks 24/7. All sports, all local, all the time. From the locker room to the field, the Jacks, high school football, the Jacksonville Armada, and don't forget, the Brett and Austin Show. They're all in on Trevor. Of course. Download the Action News Jacks Now app, available wherever you stream or at actionnewsjacks.com. TV, phone, laptop, desktop. Action Sports Jacks 24/7. Jacksonville sports, all the time.
2024 provided plenty of memorable moments for the Jacksonville Armada on the pitch, including another conference championship game appearance for Tommy Krizanovic's under-23 men's team. Debuting this year for the first time, the girls in blue as the Armada fielded a women's under-23 side in the WPSL and made its presence known with some highlight moments.
Potential goal of the season!
Then attention turned to the future, with MLS Next teams representing the Armada badge in 3 age divisions this fall, including an under-19 squad ranking among the best in the state. Those teams are a big focus on Fleet Footy, covering the big soccer stories each week on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
I'll put one in the back of the net for you.
Join us for player profiles, fun interviews, and the very latest on the Fleet and all things footy. That's every Thursday at 2 p.m.
This is Fleet and Footy on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network, sponsored by Alive Credit Union.
Welcome back to Fleet and Footy, and welcome back to a brand new NPSL season. You're looking at the away schedule right now. I know that there's a couple short away days on there that Section 904 is going to get out to. That Club de Leon game is what I'm really looking forward to as an away day. Obviously,
Where's that at, Lou?
Central Florida, Lyon,
Okay.
in France. Not quite France. Central Florida, I'm pretty sure it's right outside Lake Mary, if I'm not mistaken. But that NOLA game's always my favorite. You know what else I'm excited to see, Hamby? I don't know if you heard Tommy mention that, and the people will see it very soon. After this show ends, you'll see the full roster with a little bit more information about the players here. But I don't know if you heard, Hamby, that we got a 6'5" striker.
Really? How rare is that?
Pretty rare. I mean, he's from England. The comparisons immediately, you got to go to Peter Crouch. I'm sure the people at home know. But, Hamby, how tall are you?
I'm 6 foot.
I mean, I can't even imagine what 6'5" looks like. I like to claim 5'10" on my license.
Right.
I think with the shoes I get there.
Okay.
Maybe with the hat, a half extra inch.
You gotta wear the hat. Except for they make you take it off for the license picture.
Oh, that is true. That is true. This is true. And you know what else is true, Hamby?
What's that?
We got a lot more soccer to talk about.
Real quick on Tom, how big of a reveal was that? Like how much were people looking forward to seeing that right there?
I mean, I'm always looking forward to seeing our new squads just because it's new guys that I get to interact with, new guys that, might have to go through some media training here at the CBS Fox studios. But, it's always fun to see who's returning. One of my favorite names on there was Giancarlo Vaccaro, who's been with us for the past 4 years, the Italian-Canadian speedster. Was excited to see his name on that list.
And how long does this process take for Coach K to put together? I know some of those guys he had mentioned he'd known for many, many years, but what about the guys that are going to be new, that it's a brand new relationship? What do you think that process looks like as far as him kind of acquiring them and getting them on this roster?
Yeah, I know Tommy likes to say it starts as soon as that last game ends. I know that the gears are turning in his mind as soon as the 90 minutes is up, and he's wanting to reach out to more players. Like he mentioned there, Xavi Sato was a guy who absolutely cut us up in the playoffs. And, Tommy sat back, watched that, and said, I want that guy on my team. So, the scouting really does happen all the way up until, I would say, a week up until the season. The NPSL is so wide open in the air, and a lot of these guys really just want playing time.
Okay, I got one more for you. I think, look, whenever we're talking about the draft with the Jags and everything like that, you're kind of balancing how your needs and skill sets with how much a player fits your program. And a specific coach will balance how much skills versus how much he fits his scheme and his tactics. How much do you think Coach K how do you think he balances that out with trying to get guys that fit exactly what he's trying to run? Or do you think he's more looking for the best players available with skills that he's seen put on display?
Wow, I think A lot of it is the system. Like we mentioned, I think we mentioned it so many times in the show. There is a culture within the Armada. There is a system that we like to play. It might not necessarily be set in stone all the time, but we like to play a very attacking, exciting system, a little bit more wide open, expansive. Tommy obviously comes in with his formations and his little changes, but I really do believe that if these guys buy into a Tommy system, that you're able to get the most out of them. I think Tommy specifically is picking for the system. I could be speaking for him here, but I know how the club operates, and we really do like that attacking, expansive style of football.
Very interesting. All right.
The more you know, Hambone, the more you know. He's
right.
starting to get to know a little bit more about soccer.
Absolutely.
Keegan was 6'4". That's a little bit crazy. I did not realize that. I guess that's why he's killing it over in MLS Next Pro. I mean, it only makes sense. We, meaning the Armada, and we were just over in Bradenton, Florida recently for the Generation Adidas Cup, playing teams from all across the nation and the globe. And honestly, a tournament like this really just solidified how bright the future of youth soccer is in the United States. I mean, the level of play there was unbelievable. I mean, not only was I watching our team play, but these games were streamed live on YouTube and on Apple TV. So if you were able to catch one of the matches, I mean, it was just unbelievable, the level of play. You're talking about youth international guys. There was some U16-year-olds playing on U18 teams. You had Portuguese internationals, Brazilian, Dutch. I mean, it was quite the event. Bradenton and IMG were fantastic hosts. The fields were watered every other game, and they really did hold up over that 10-day stretch. But I know that this was such an amazing experience for the boys. They fought so hard to even get to this point, and really, theoretically, were only one of 4 teams that qualified based off of merit and were not invited to the tournament. So because of MLS Next Fest, we were able to qualify for this tournament out in Bradenton. It's honestly been a special group having this first year, and I think these guys have really stepped up to the plate, using a baseball analogy there. Also, speaking of baseball, shout out producer Hambone, district champ.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure you've gotten some shout outs in some of the other shows, but I have not shouted you out yet.
I appreciate it, brother.
But here's us playing a Korean team, winning that match 3-1. There were some fantastic goals in that match. Of course, it was the only match I wasn't there for, so I probably was the bad luck charm. If you did catch Fleet and Footy last weekend, I was reporting live from Bradenton, Florida, so it was definitely an interesting experience if you want to go back and watch that one after you watch this game. But it was honestly such a great experience. All the boys stayed in an Airbnb. We bussed them back and forth to the fields, had some team cookouts. It was a really fun and enjoyable trip for everyone involved. And I know the boys are hungry. Some of those guys, like Tommy mentioned, like an Andy Dunn, who wants to get back to that point next year. I mean, this is the top level tournament within MLS, and this is what all these kids at the academy level aspire to be at. In the U16 age group, oh man, I don't want to say the wrong team, but I know in the U18 age group, Orlando City defeated Colorado Rapids in the final on Easter Day. That Colorado Rapids team being one of the 4 teams in our group originally in the GA Cup. So it was pretty cool to be able to play such a top-level opponent. And that Orlando City team, who we have mentioned all year long, who I think only has maybe 1 or 2 losses, and they may just be in the tournament, absolutely on fire. Keep your eyes peeled for a lot of those guys to play in MLS Next Pro. I know some of them already do have some appearances. A guy like Colin Gusky, who came from Jacksonville FC, actually has made that step all the way up to the pro team. So watch out for those guys. Those guys in purple are pretty good. I mean, and it was just a fantastic experience to be able to watch my first MLS Next Pro game. I mentioned last week on the show that Inter Miami 2 played Orlando City B, and it was really a high level of play, and I was super impressed and just really happy that MLS was able to put this showcase on for these guys that were there at the tournament to show, you know, where that next level is, to show where they should be at. And it was honestly just such a wonderful experience. So enough about Armada. Let's get to the global world of soccer now. The globe, El Mundial, the world of soccer. We didn't mention it last week because we had to talk about Champions League, the big European Cups, but got to talk a little bit about Europa and a little bit about Conference League. I mean, you know, the stories that come out of these tournaments are a little bit cooler just because of the, you know, the size and the sheer power of some of these teams. But you get some stalwarts in there like Fiorentina and Real Betis now going on to play each other in the semifinals.
Big Lou, what is a stalwart?
Like, you know, something that's always there, a stalwart, something that's always always around. A Fiorentina or Real Betis, a pillar. Thank you, a pillar. You fact checking me.
Is stalwart a soccer term or is that just a Lou term?
I think it's a Lou term. You know, I think I might have picked that up in my vocab class.
Okay.
We had 15 minutes of vocab every morning in grade
school.
Baby. So, you know.
Shout out Fernandina Public Schools.
No, I went to a private little Catholic school. Shout out St. Michael Academy.
There we go. How's their soccer program? They have one?
They do. I don't know if it's a program as much as a team.
No problem.
But shout out the Crusaders up there on the island.
There we go. Chelsea
gets a win, an easy win over Warsaw to go play. I believe this is a Swedish team, and Hamby, I couldn't even pronounce this. There's a D and a J immediately after each other. Djurgården.
Oh.
Will play Chelsea. So I'd imagine Chelsea ends up in that Conference League final. But truly, the best games happen in the Europa League. And maybe one of the best games of the entire 2025, the year, or maybe even the 2024-2025 season. But Man United beat Lyon 5-4. Comeback victory. Harry Maguire scores in the 120+1 minute. I mean, the absolute scenes. I know how happy Manchester United fans are right now. They're wanting to get back to that top level. And I think this is definitely a step in the right direction here. They really did play a fantastic game. The English teams surprisingly doing well because you know who else snuck their way through? Tottenham Hotspur. They beat Eintracht Frankfurt on aggregate, punched their ticket through to the semifinals, as well as Athletic Club Bilbao. They handle Rangers over 2 legs. Bilbao is honestly my team to watch out for to win that. These Spanish teams love to win the Europa League. There's something about it. If it's not Barca and Real in Champions League, it's going to be a Sevilla or an Athletic Bilbao in the Europa League. And the final team...
Is Atletico Madrid still good?
Atletico Madrid's still good. You know, you got that top 3 in there. It's still the same.
Okay.
Still the same FIFA ratings.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, like, Real Madrid's going to be like a 96. Barca's going to be like a 97.
Yeah.
And then Atletico's going to be like a 89.
Yeah, that's probably about right. I haven't played FIFs in a little bit, but...
That's what it was back in 2014, back in my days, so...
When that boy Royce was killing it, right?
That's right.
And the final game that I had to mention was Lazio Bodo Glimt. Now,
one more time.
Lazio is a team out of Italy.
Yes.
They played a team
with the wings.
Yes. Oh, wow.
Dude.
Wow. Now, Hambo, that was a good
I'm literally
call
taking
out.
Stuart's spot right now.
That was
Like,
a great call out.
come on now.
They actually played a club, and I think this is, if I'm not mistaken, the only professional first top flight club that is located within the Northern Circle, the Arctic Circle, excuse me. They play in the Norwegian League. Bodo Glimt. They do the upset They beat Lazio over 2 legs to go on to play Tottenham. But a really interesting story there. Lazio froze their butts off in that first leg up there in Norway. And so Bodo Glimt honestly just had to wait out the game, and they won on aggregate 3-2. And really, they had the better chances in the matchup. They definitely weren't the better team, but it's been an awesome story to follow. And that's probably my we got no Lazio fans in here. It's been different to the Champions League, but once again, they also had that same big group stage, that elongated group. So I've been enjoying watching it. This is probably when I watch Conference League and Europa League the most, is when it starts getting down to these Final Four teams. But I'm gonna have my eyes peeled. The Cup season is upon us. We got U.S. Open Cup, I think, continuing on next week. And we also have CONCACAF Champions Cup. Last night, Tigres played Cruz Azul to a 1-1 draw. Honestly, a classic Liga MX game. Rough. Not a lot of calls from the referee, but a really, really good matchup to see who will take that final place against an MLS opponent, because the other side, you got the boy that scored the ham bone, Brian White, the Vancouver Whitecaps.
Let's go.
They play host to the GOAT and the Fab Four from Inter Miami, who they just got a fantastic win over Columbus. But tonight at 10:30 Eastern,
there he is.
You'll have that matchup, and honestly, it's going to be probably the biggest matchup for both of those MLS clubs in their entirety of their history. So watch that. But you know what you need to watch is Fleet Footy. So keep your eyes peeled. Stay on the show. We've got a couple more things to touch on. Of course, I'm an MLS nerd. We got to touch on the MLS. And of course, the weird soccer story of the week. And this one kind of pertains to me. I have a side story about something that happened at GA Cup. So stick around and find out what that weird soccer story of the week is.
Ancla Dorada. The official bear of your Jacksonville Armada.
When you think sports, you think Action Sports Jacks, the official station of the Jaguars, on location for every game. But the most experienced team in town doesn't stop there. From high school football to the big events in the area, Action Sports Jacks is always on. Now, we take that to a new level. Action Sports Jacks 24/7 is around-the-clock coverage of the teams you love and the moments you can't miss. The best local sports in Jacksonville on Action Sports Jacks 24/7. People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From the start in 1954 to today, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. I had a chance to see that commitment firsthand as Alive partnered with our Action Sports Jacks 24/7 team to bring you Armada men's and women's soccer broadcasts. Inside the 18, it is a shot, and it's a goal! Chloe Chivers! And that connection to the community continues with Alive Credit Union's support of the Police Athletic League of Jacksonville. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of all first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
Hey everyone, Olivia Olivia Tasley here from Action Sports Jacks to tell you all the different ways you can watch our new 24/7 network. 3 easy steps. You don't even need a pen and paper to write it down. Step number 1, download the app. Search Action News Jacks in your app store, either on your phone or your smart TV. Then, once you're on the app, click on that little drop-down menu in the upper left-hand corner with the 3 little lines. That'll show you these options, and boom, right here, click Action Sports Jacks 24/7, and you will be brought to our continuous stream channel. That app can be accessed through all these different platforms, whether you have Roku, Fire TV, Smart TV, Apple TV, or Google TV. You can find our app. Now, if you don't have access to the app, don't worry, we still got you covered. We're across all social media platforms, from Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, Twitch. We have a podcast channel. Plus, check out our short reels on our TikTok. Action Sports Jacks 24/7. It's on all the time and everywhere.
This is Fleet and Footy on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network, sponsored by a live credit union.
Now, I know Victor Wembanyama is a little taller than 6'5", but oh my goodness. The footage is fantastic. This is from Costa Rica. Obviously, the Spurs, didn't really make the playoffs. It's been this is what I'm excited about for youth soccer. We get some of these guys, maybe we turn them into. Wembanyama's obviously French, but maybe we get to turn them into basketball players instead of soccer players. So. Yeah, but I even think, 6'2", you look like a, small next to him. Small. Welcome back to the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 studio. If you're not tired of hearing my voice yet, I appreciate you sticking around. Stuart is not joining me in the studio right now, but I hope you'll hear me, listen to me talk more about MLS, because there was a lot of things going on in MLS last night and even until today.
We got some takeaways here?
No, go to the transfers. Go to the transfers first. Got to touch on the transfers. Transfer deadline for MLS closed last night at 10 p.m. Some of these also transfers may have gone through last night and just maybe have not been announced yet. So these MLS teams can still have today to announce. I know one of the ones that a lot of people are looking out for is Julian Gressel from Inter Miami. Has been just rotting on their bench. They're taking up $1 million in cap space. So that's pretty good. Hamby, you got that transfers video up?
Yes, sir.
Just so I can go through them. There you go. Sporting Kansas City signs a young Mexican striker to add to their attack. They've really been waning up top, and they've been needing an extra punch. So the striker from Santos is going to be great. Houston also need some more finishing in that attack. They signed this man from St. Mirren. I should have had my article pulled up before.
Houston Dynamo
Toyosi
FC.
Olasanya. I wanted to say his name specifically because it was good. They bring him in to add to the attack, a striker. Really pacey player. Houston definitely needs some pace up top. The San Jose Earthquakes sign Noel Buck. This is the 7th rev that Bruce Arena has taken from New England to San Jose. So building basically New England Revolution 2 over there, a fantastic young player. There's a sign-on clause in this contract in case he does end up going on to be something special. 20 years old. Keep your eyes out on him. The LAFC make a pair of signings. First one, Frankie Amaya, has been in MLS prior with New York Red Bulls. And there you go. There's the other man who signed. That is, oh my gosh, blanking. Ryan Raposo, who's also played in MLS.
Had a baby.
Some MLS experience. And man, this one kind of hit home. Robert Taylor leaves Inter Miami for Austin FC. Wasn't really getting the playing time he deserved in pink. Will definitely get it in green. Definitely an MLS caliber starting winger. John De Silva, which I still see his goal against Inter Miami replay up in Atlanta all the time in my head. A really nice piece for St. Louis City on really, really cheap. Hey, Hammy, you know this guy.
Thomas Müller.
So this is a little bit of a tease because he actually denied FC Cincinnati the opportunity to sign him. Cincinnati, I guess, came out with a full package to Thomas Müller. They actually have his discovery rights. If you know anything about MLS, you got to have discovery rights to sign a player. Yes, Hamby. It's kind of like a like a shotgun in the front seat of a car.
Is that like finders, keepers, losers, weepers?
Pretty much. It's pretty much. And then you trade the finders, keepers, losers, weepers.
Oh.
In case you wanted to sign him, So now, if anyone wants to sign Thomas Müller, they got to go through FC Cincinnati first, which is a really interesting concept and something that only happens here in the world of U.S. soccer.
Wow.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. You got a lot to learn, Hambone.
That's my number one. That's my week 9 takeaway. Lou?
Let me see my week 9 takeaways, huh? Yeah, there they are. Worked hard on them this week, as you can tell. The Whitecaps topped the West. I mean, it's been incredible to see what this team has done in such a short period of time. The front office is all over the place, but on the field, they're doing fantastic. Their new manager that they brought in from Denmark after firing Sartini, it's been really good up there in the north of the border for the Vancouver Whitecaps. Charlotte's Pep Biel on MVP watch. He's on my MVP watch. He's got 3 goals and 6 assists, both top 5 in MLS. Charlotte keeps rolling over teams. They just won again 3-0. That team is just built really well. I'm shocked that all those pieces ended up coming together as well as they did. One of my favorite teams to keep my eyes on that's not here in Florida. Miami remains undefeated after Cleveland. I put this in there because they played in Cleveland, but they actually played the Columbus Crew. They played in the Brown Stadium, the Dog Pound. Hamby, what's the stadium called there? I'm sure you got that.
Cincinnati Browns?
No. They played in Cleveland. What's the Browns?
Oh, I don't know this name of the stadium.
I thought you would.
It is the Dog Pound.
Yeah, the Dog Pound. It is the Dog Pound. The boys get it done over there. The Herons get it done. 1-0. Benha Gremesh, MLS Next product from Weston FC, gets the lone goal. Superman diving header to give Miami the 3 points in front of over 60,000 once again. I think after tonight, Messi will have sold out 3 stadiums in a row. So pretty cool to see the pull he still has. Got to include this one. Giroud scores
That's Olivier, ain't it?
Yeah, that is. And you know him too. Olivier Giroud scores his first MLS goal after 280 days. I mean, we almost got up to a whole year. He obviously scored in U.S. Open Cup and I think CONCACAF Champions Cup. But you got to score in the league that you're signed in. I mean, LAFC has needed someone else to score the goals for them because Denny Bouanga can't do anything. I mean, can't do everything. He can do anything. He's a fantastic player, but he can't do everything for that black and gold team. So they need Giroud to finally step up in MLS, and it was an absolute banger of a goal. Crossbar down, free kick. Still winless in Carson, California. I'm not even going to call them the LA Galaxy anymore if they still want to lose all these games. They draw again, I think. So now they're on 3 points. But it's been so miserable to watch what an exciting team they were last year just absolutely capitulate. You got Maya Yoshida out on injury, Marco Royce out on injury, Ricky Puig out on injury. Gabriel Peck is just not the same player he was last year. I thought that he was going to get a move over to Europe by the time maybe the summer rolled around, but it doesn't look like that's happening at all. They got to figure something out over there in LA. Hamby, this takes us in to our rankings, our power rankings, because really a lot did happen this week. It feels like we're getting so much MLS soccer. We'll have some of those breaks, I'm sure, soon enough. But the Whitecaps, once again, top my rankings. They've been hard to push out of that top 3 spot. And now for 2 weeks in a row, they've been at my 1. I just flip-flopped Columbus and Miami. I mean, a really tight game. Miami has honestly gotten away with murder a couple of times this season. They could have dropped a lot of points but the only undefeated team remaining in MLS, although the Whitecaps have the most points, Miami still on that Invincibles run. Charlotte, like I said, a fantastic 3-0 win. They keep their spot just because I can't see them being better than those two Eastern Conference teams I have above them. Cincinnati gets a fantastic 3-2 win. Finally, Evander is back and Evander is firing. That's a really interesting squad if they decide they want to get their act together. Philly Union, after I dropped them for having a couple injuries and just a bad weekend, I throw them back up there because they really are a solid squad. I think this kind of proved to me that their depth really isn't, it's not just luck. It really is just good depth they've got over in Philly. LAFC, like I said, at least they got that win this weekend, but it's weird that the attack needs something else, and it's not a 30-plus-year-old Olivier Giroud. They got rid of a lot of those core pieces in the midfield, and it's just not working out for them. Obviously now lose their head coach as Steve Cherundolo announces that he is leaving the club at the end of the season. So a lot of things flying around in LA, not only in Carson, but over in downtown LA at the Bank of California Stadium. The Portland Timbers, who chopped into my rankings last week, sneaked their way a little further up. They got a good win over LAFC, and they got to figure out who's going to be that main guy for them, who's going to step up for them. There's a lot of talent there, but I don't see them making a far run in the MLS playoffs later in the year if they don't figure out where their goal scoring is coming from. Minnesota had a really bad loss. Not a great performance, really stale from them. And you want to talk about bad losses, San Diego, who I have probably been maybe the most high on this season, which I just love expansion teams. That you only get them one time in a blue moon. In MLS, you get them a lot, but this is eventually going to stop. So it's always exciting to see what the expansion teams are up to. San Diego lose 3-0 to Charlotte. You cannot do that, especially after how high rolling you were. Especially after how high rolling you were after losing Chucky Lozano. Now you got him back. It's something that they got to figure out. They got a young manager over there in San Diego, but I really hope that team does sneak into the playoffs this year and possibly give us a good run out there in the West. Hamby. I went a little too fast, if we're being honest.
What do you think the playoff outlook is for a team like Vancouver? Are there expectations to win it? Should they be?
There probably is some expectations to go deep, but when I'm talking about there were zero expectations on this team going into this season, there were zero. I mean, Miami is now bringing their full squad up north to play this team. The last time these two squads played each other, Miami brought their B team. They started a Yannick Bright. They started a Leo Campana. So it's going to be, I think this game in CONCACAF Champions League, although it cannot affect my MLS rankings, will really tell us a lot about the top dogs in MLS. We just saw Inter Miami and Columbus play. I really think a lot of these teams are tight, and that's just something about MLS, Hamby, is that the roster rules almost require a very tight and everyone beats everyone kind of system in MLS. It's a little bit different. Like we got the draft on our day. If you are the worst, you get that first pick, and it really is a crucial pick in a league like the NFL or like the NBA. But that doesn't really do you any good to finish bottom over here in MLS.
All right.
You know what time it is, Hamby? Now that you gave me a little bit extra time.
Are you gonna announce this right, or are you gonna?
I can announce it right.
Okay.
It's the weird soccer story of the week. Week.
Very good.
Thank you.
I wasn't gonna play it if it was. Oh, whoa.
Whoa, quick here.
That started fast. Hold on, let me go back already.
This clip comes out of Belgium. You see Genk is on the ball there, looking to get their final counterattack going late in the game, and actually that's a kit man that kicks a ball out onto the field to disrupt the game and disrupt play. The final score ends up being that final score you see right there, 2-1. Maybe the most absurd red card I've ever seen in my time. This was Union SG. That was their kit man. I mean, we're talking about a crucial counterattack. And this is a top flight league. I don't know what else to say other than this looks amateur. I mean, one of the story that I'm going to refer to that happened at GA Cup was it was later on in the game, and I happened to be taking pictures in a corner, and the ball found its way to me several times during the game, and that ball was belonging to us. I was going to throw that ball in back to our players pretty quickly so they could get it back on the field. Yeah. After a couple times of doing that, the fourth official, who, the official that has no play, no say on the game whatsoever, comes over to the head coach. I mean, come over to me if you got a little issue, but goes over to the head coach and says he cannot affect the play of game. I go, you want the ball to roll to the other field? Like, it just kind of gave me the same kind of vibe, although a little bit more nefarious. I wasn't kicking balls under the field to make sure we won any matches. But Hambone, what do you think about that one?
You think he's just trying to insert himself into the match?
I think he was trying to slow down play. I mean, he was successful in it. Union SG ended up winning that game 2-1. It was a crucial game within the Belgian first division. I've never affected a play like that. Who was the head coach that tripped someone in the NFL? I remember when that happened. That was a huge deal.
Tomlin's been accused of it.
There you go. That's what I'm thinking of. That's what I'm thinking. Exactly. As we tie it back into the NFL draft today, you got anything exciting going on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network tonight?
Oh, do we?
Tell them about it, Hambone. Why don't you tell them about it?
We got 3 hours of live coverage for everybody, all these soccer fans that, are coming over for an exciting day of off-season. You've been waiting a long time for this. So we got at 7 to 8, we're going to be live on CBS and Fox. We already heard from team president Mark Lamping and Tony Baselli earlier today on the Britton Austin show, which you could have watched on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. That show lives all the time on YouTube and on anywhere you get your podcasts. And then tonight we're going to hear from long snapper Ross Matisic around 7:10. We're going to hear from Brian Thomas Jr., the star of the team, obviously. And then from 8 to 10, while you watch the draft, we don't want to discourage you from watching the draft. So you're going to be like Lou and have 6 screens at once, or you can even be like poor Stewart, who's only got 2 going at once. 2 is all you need because you can have the draft on one and then have our live show going at the same time where we're breaking down the picks from the Jax perspective. You'll hear from Brian Sexton up in Green Bay, and that will take you all the way to 10 o'clock.
Wow. It's like this guy does it for a living. He's so good, Hambone. Thank you, Mr. Jason in the back. Can you toss up that last graphic I wanted to touch on just really quick? We had a huge announcement yesterday with Sports Illustrated Tickets now have become our new ticketing partner for the 2025 season. If you didn't get that general email and you want to buy tickets, just go on our website, jacksonvillearmada.com. If you are a season ticket reservation holder, you should have received an email to accept your new season tickets for this upcoming 2025 NPSL and WPSL season. So keep your eyes peeled for that. I know we're excited about the new ticketing platform. I know we're excited to stay on this network and broadcast every single one of our home matches right here on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 studio. I appreciate you all for joining me once again for an episode of Fleet and Footy. Hambone pressing the buttons in the back. Stuart being Superman. He's not here right now, but I promise you he's being Superman. Big news coming soon from Stuart, from the Armada, from Fleet and Footy. And we'll catch you back here live next Thursday from 2 to 3.